Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to episode 2 of Trudge Report. My name is Shawn, and I am presented, and I am here with you, as always, by my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Greg Phillips, Mr. Bill, Corey, and we are here to talk about our experience in recovery, the latest in sports and trending culture, and our lives and friendships and beyond. You can check out new podcasts of the Trudge Report every Tuesday on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. And be sure to like and subscribe on all social media platforms with the handle @TrudgeReportPod. That is @TrudgeReportPod. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we tonight?
I'm fine.
Doing
Everybody
great, Shawn.
doing okay?
Doing great.
Loving life.
Good
I'm loving
stuff,
Greg's
good
life.
stuff. Well, that's good, too.
Yep.
How was everybody's week? What's going on? Anybody got anything they want to get off their chest real quick before we get into this?
Yeah, I do, Shawn. I made a small strategic error last week. I should have more thoroughly endorsed the great relationship I have with my wife and my children and my wonderful job that I have as well. It's fantastic. So just want to put that out there to anybody listening that in case you were confused, those are all factual things about my life and my week that I reflected on. I don't want any rocks in my pillow tonight, so thought I'd share that.
Bro, we got the same talk. That's crazy.
From your boss or your wife?
Well, my wife.
Okay, that's
One and the same. One and the
Yeah.
same.
I did forget that I had a job too last week, so but they didn't watch, I guess.
I don't think so. Well, you never know. You never know. Greg, what's up, man? How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm great, man. Just got done with a little massage that my excellent lady put on for us, like a little thing that we went to like a spa and had it done. So I'm relaxed. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Quick question, Greg.
nice.
Was Deshaun
Yes.
Watson in the building? Was Deshaun Watson in the building in Cleveland?
You know, it was a pretty intimate setting and very, very professional, very above board. So I'm guessing probably not.
What about Robert Kraft?
He's not allowed in Cleveland.
He's not allowed in Cleveland. Okay, deal. All right, good stuff.
What's that hoodie say?
This hoodie actually is says "That Kid from Cleveland." It is a limited edition hoodie by a company called EV, and the only reason I got it is because I saw one Super Bowl champion Travis Kelce wearing it on his podcast, and I loved it, so I ordered it for myself.
Yeah. Shout out T-Rav.
Travis who?
Yes.
T-Rav.
We'll get into that. We'll have a Super Bowl recap here. Before we go any further, guys, I just want to take a quick moment and thank our wonderful producer, Miss Janine Stella at Stella Mix Production. She is awesome. She is our guiding light through all of this. I just don't want to forget to shout her out. Okay, so let's get right into it. First segment is just kind of be a recap of last week. We got a couple housekeeping tips. Bill's going to talk to us about something. We do have our first voicemail that we're going to play, listener line voicemail. Very excited about that. Let's go Corey first. And Corey, how do you think last week went? First episode, fan reaction, friends, family, all that stuff. Give us a couple minutes on that.
Yeah, surprisingly well, I think. At least in my part, I maybe I'm too negative, but I was surprised by the reaction, I think. Lots of shares on social media and stuff. Lots of people commenting and are pretty pumped about it. And, you know, even the anticipation before we released the episode was really good. Yeah, man. We even got like a couple people were like, hey, like do an episode on fatherhood, like our friend Paige, who is a new mother, by the way. Suggested that. Yeah, shout out Paige. Congratulations. Suggested we do some talking on fatherhood and stuff, which I'm sure we can do in the future. And so yeah, anyway, like really, really grateful for all the support, all the shares, and my in-laws shared it, which was really nice of them. And I think I was most nervous to have them listen to it. Maybe them and my parents. My mom, I don't care. She doesn't care what I say. But
I felt the same way about my mom.
Yeah. But I think I think we were pretty behaved last week. So, but I don't know. I felt very good about it. Very grateful. What about you guys?
Who wants to go next? You want to go next, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, I felt, obviously you got a little bit of nerves going into the first one, and you don't quite know how it's going to turn out, and is anybody going to listen to it? And I want to say by middle of the day Tuesday, I mean, Corey was keeping like great tabs for us and everything like that, and sending it through the group chat, but I was blown away. It was very, very, it was humbling and also very exciting at the same time. So I think, what we said from the jump, if we keep getting on here every week and doing what we love to do and doing it from that position, I think that sky's the limit.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I was actually more nervous tonight doing the intro. I fumbled a few words there right off rip than I was last week. Now that I know like people actually care and are listening, and there's people out there that possibly either think they want to hear what we have to say, is pretty special. Bill, what about you, bud?
Oh, unlike you guys, I knew we were going to do great. Number one. In retrospect, Greg's a stud. I mean, I listened to the podcast a couple times over. I was thoroughly impressed. I mean,
the gravitas was the word that was used.
Our resident Viking came through. I mean, Corey came through. Social media, big time. Definitely thank you for that, Corey. You're doing a fantastic job. Shawn, you were more nervous in the intro tonight, but you know what? I like that, man. It's raw and real. I was just with my aunt and uncle out to dinner, and I brought up the podcast, and they had listened to the whole thing. They were asking me questions about this and that, and it's awesome to to have that as well. And I will reflect on the fact that I looked like I was sitting like next to the sun on the last episode, and I had a much worse mic condition. So I had to hire my wife to kind of fix these things. So hopefully we got it together for you guys this week. So, but besides that, man, I had a great time. I was very appreciative of all the positive responses. There were a few haters out there, and to those two gentlemen, I have your name on a dartboard, and come on the show and talk about it. I mean, let's hear it. Let's see what you can do. That's all I'm going to say to that. And, the cream rises to the top.
Bill, I thought a little bit about that too. And so I don't know if you know this, but in pro wrestling, not sports entertainment, but pro wrestling, any reaction's a good reaction. You want the boos and you want the cheers. But if they're going to buy a T-shirt while you're out there in the ring, that's not good. So as long as there's something.
Thank you, Corey.
Yep.
Yeah, bring them on here for a Hell in a Cell match then.
I'm down.
Wasn't one of them one of our homeless friends too that had some hater things to say?
Yeah. It's always that guy.
Yeah. I will say that I was absolutely jacked after last Friday recording. Like I couldn't sleep hardly at all. I had so much fun. It was exhilarating. I had no idea what the reaction was going to be after recording last Friday, but it was an absolute blast. And I was, I will admit that'll be a recurring theme. I know the least about like social media and how any of that stuff works, although I am learning a lot. So when the guys were firing it in the group thread this week, or text message thread about how many views, how many likes, how many this, like I think I knew that it was good, but it was good to hear from you guys that like, no, that's amazing. That's really good. I'm shocked at that. I'm happy to, and then Janine sending that email out about the downloads and stuff. So very cool. Again, if you're listening, please share, like, subscribe, follow, please, anything you can. We would be greatly appreciated by it.
One of our reels got 4,000 views. So that's a notable mention. It just happened to be Constanza's reel. So
which
shout out
fantastic.
Constanza.
And another thing,
I think it was her name.
By learning a lot, Shawn meant like this man had a flip phone a couple years ago. Big shout out to Shawn and his technical advances. I think he even sent a picture through the chat or something recently. It's really mind-boggling.
It's more than a couple years ago, but it has been within the last decade that I got a smartphone. I'll say that. All right. So on that note, on the Constanza note, I'm going to kick this over to Bill next. We have a voicemail that we're going to play for you here in a few minutes. And I'm going to let Bill kind of explain the whole thing, and I'll let him go.
All right. So last week, I made our inaugural episode. We did a surprise $100 possible giveaway, which Greg then upped to $2. That if someone could find Shawn's original MySpace page, we would give them the money live, whatever. They had to produce the actual thing. So I had a couple people reach out, a few friends, private detectives and police officers and things. I'm going to find that, Bill. And then I had one real delusional friend reach out, and he said, I've got deep dive connections on the interwebs and all these things. And he talked a lot of smack. He said, I found it. So I said, send it to me. Send it to me right now. He said, no, I'm not going to send it to you. If I send it to you directly, you're going to say that you found it and you're never going to give me the credit for it, which probably was a lie. And then I said, okay, well, send it to Shawn then. So then he calls Shawn and leaves him a voicemail. Just to preface here, this is our friend who is a guy we all love, but is just extremely one of a kind, and
he's out there
probably making up a lot of lies right now. But we're gonna have our producer play this clip for you right now, and then we're gonna get a take on it.
Hey Shawn, it's Mark. Listen to your guys' podcast, sounds great. I accepted the challenge to try and find your original MySpace, and I found it, and I'd like to claim the $200. I don't know who do I send it to claim my voucher, but I do have a confirmation of your original MySpace page of Shawn McDonald. I have some guys that are pretty deep, got some far reaches on the internet. Took them like less than an hour. So yeah, I just want to go over a couple things on it to make sure that this is the same Shawn McDonald we're talking about, because it looks like you went under some pseudonyms back in your day here. But yeah, let's link up and let me know. Thanks, Shawn. Bye.
So I don't know if I heard that correctly, but he said he's in possession of this MySpace page, right? He said he has it. So Mark, where's the MySpace page? Stop hiding. Send the MySpace page through so we can all verify this information, or else just admit that you're a liar. That's what we would like you to do.
The word voucher should have given it away. And then he was asking, who should I give it to? Like, you listen to the podcast, Bill's the one that came up with the idea of the money. Like, obviously send it to Bill, or could have sent it to any one of us. But I don't know. I really thought he found it.
I will say that if you're in the Danville, PA area, Mark is a great person to purchase a vehicle from, but not always the reliable source for these type of things. I will say, however, that he did want the money to not go directly to him, but to be made as a charitable donation to an owl conservatory. So he does also care about the owls, which I guess is important in today's day and age. So,
well, and that's fantastic. Like, great cause, I'm sure, but like a little bit strange, right? The owl conservative, like just a little bit,
strange, but on brand.
Yes.
Corey, what are your thoughts on this, buddy?
I don't have any.
You're awful quiet over there, and it's concerning me.
My cat is scratching at my door. Like, she just keeps looking at me, and then she scratches the door as if I'm not doing some business right now. As far as Mark goes, yeah, he's full of shit. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I'm just glad I didn't put up any money. In fact, if you go back to last week, I offered to take some off the top. So if you guys are giving $200 to charity, I want 50 of it.
So then I think in that vein, Bill, we should probably let the listeners know what we found out about MySpace accounts in general.
We're going to hold on to that one, I think. Because okay. I think because now we listen to the voicemail, but Mark says, no, I need another week. I have to verify some things. So we'll wait on that piece of information. But we're talking about a man that is known to call customer service and wait on hold and go all the way up the chain of command, get an answer to something, full, thorough answer of what he wants, hang up the phone and call right back. I mean, this is the kind of guy we're talking about here. So let's see what he comes up with.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So let's segue into the next topic. And I just want to say real quick before we do that, once again, thank you to everyone who supported it and listened and liked and shared and rated and all that stuff last week. And please keep it coming.
Hey, shout out real quick. Shout out Danny P. He
and Danny P and the Yukon Huskies.
The dogs.
The Yukon Huskies.
Okay. That's right. Yeah. No, I was texting with Danny P last night. He was on a plane, I believe, listening to our podcast for the third time, he said. And he offered to put it on speaker for the whole plane, but I don't know if he did or not. But big support from Danny P. Got to have him on here one day.
Shout out Danny P with those socks. All right, we're going to get into our Super Bowl recap pod. If you're listening to this by now, you either know how good or how bad our takes were from last week. The Kansas City Chiefs did win the Super Bowl, and we're going to have a little bit of discussion on it. And let's go Greg first. Give me a little, how did your picks go? Did you hit on anything? The betting market? Give me your thoughts on the game, Mr. Greg.
All right. Well, I think first off, we should all start out by saying we talked about it as a group yesterday. Collectively, our hearts and our thoughts go out to the families involved in the tragedy that took place, the shooting at a parade. You know, it terrible thing that happened, and yeah. So that's where we're at with that. Our thoughts are with you guys. As far as the big game is concerned, I mean, my score was way off. I think that was like most of America's. I didn't expect it to be. I texted it to you guys during the game. I couldn't tell if the defense on both ends of the field was that good or both offenses looked that bad. I just couldn't. It was hard to decipher, but kind of everything you'd want out of a Super Bowl. I think it came right down to the wire. Came down to some dumb coaching decisions, I think, in overtime. But all in all, what I said was going to happen was going to happen. The Chiefs were going to find a way to get it done. Patrick Mahomes was going to march down the field and get it done, and he did. So hats off to them. They deserve it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah. Well, I'll point out, first of all, I did have the closest score. I think I was 10 points away with my final score. No, something light. But, I also think that the NFL is scripted conspiracy theory is alive and well, because if I could have wrote that for the NFL, that's probably how I would have wrote it. So I'm going to go with it scripted for right now. In a game where I want both teams to really lose, it didn't happen. We didn't get there. So that was rough for me. To watch Mahomes win another one, I mean, I don't like it. I'm not a fan. And the Chiefs, they're a powerhouse, man. And this, for me, the way I look at it, the Steelers aren't even close. I don't think that anyone's really going to be close to them, over the next decade. So Mahomes is a beast. You can't deny it, man. You can't deny it. So it was a fun game to watch. The Taylor Swift over under, I believe we had it 13.5. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I don't think we got there, but there is some discrepancy with that. I guess I'll let you guys hash that out.
Let us nothing. Say it.
Oh, so we decided that it was from the time of the broadcast, and every other place had this count starting from the time of the kickoff. Therefore, unless one of us four gentlemen or someone watching this show wants to go watch the entire CBS broadcast and restart that count, I don't think we really have a bet. So I'd say that no one wins or loses.
I won.
Corey did pick the unders.
I won. That's what he's supposed to say right now is I won.
You picked the under, Corey?
Yes, I did.
I know I picked the over.
Well, you also picked the Niners, so we knew you were going to pick the
right.
Point.
No, I'm sorry.
All right. All right. In that case, then, Corey, give us your thoughts on the game.
Unbelievable. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely won that. I said, yeah, I'm talking about Taylor first. I went under. because 13 times to be shown for Taylor is a lot, even though we all seem like, we all think it's a lot when we're watching the game or whatever, but 13 is a lot. And also, by the way, listen, I just got to throw this out there. I'm not a guy who hates on that. I think I made that clear already. I don't hate on them showing Taylor. I know they show her like 10 times more than they show like Bradley Cooper at an Eagles game, whatever. I don't care. Do you know how many seconds she was shown in the Super Bowl?
55.
I saw 54. Yep. I mean, that's less than 1% of the entire thing. I don't care. I mean, people that are bitching they just want to bitch. That's all that is. And I'm a bitcher. All right. So that's pretty bad coming from me. But anyway, as far as the game, as far as the score goes that our predictions, I had a buddy text me. We'll call him Dave from work. And if he gets to this point in the podcast, which he won't appreciate the shout out at all. But he texted me and was like, your guys' picks are trash. They're way too high. Defenses are too good. And that kind of honestly made sense by halftime. The first half was almost boring. The second half was a totally different game, as I think they often are. And I don't know. I know everybody gets all hyped up about a close game, and that's all you want. If it was the Eagles, I would have felt much worse about being that close. But I like a blowout. I don't like to see it close, but it's exciting. It's exciting, I guess. Pat Mahomes is possibly the next Brady, I guess. The Chiefs, if there's a team to do it, may get a three-peat. I mean, I've made clear that I'm an amateur at all this anyway, and analyzing sports for sure. I'm not even trying. I don't want to use the word analyze. But also, by the way, if it was scripted, the Eagles would have been in the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. And the other brother would have got a ring on him. That's what I think. That's it, man. Good game. Good game.
Shocking.
And I am a little sad. This was like my first full season as like a football fan, or almost a football fan. And now we got to wait. And I don't like basketball. I might get into the Phillies a little bit, baseball. Maybe. I don't know.
Can you clarify the other brother would have got a ring comment there?
Yeah, Jason Kelsey would have beat his brother.
He already has a ring, though.
He has a ring, but not on his brother. Not beating his brother.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we would have came full circle.
Okay, I understand. Gotcha.
Yeah, even Travis Kelsey said he was out on the script idea when the Eagles lost. Me too.
Well, he didn't write the script. The NFL did.
True.
So I would say yes. I was on record last week saying I am not a fan of Patrick Mahomes, nor his family, nor Andy Reid, or any of the Kansas City Chiefs. But I will absolutely 100%, hands down, congratulate them. Unbelievable what they're doing. Unbelievable what he's doing. I think something that gets lost is that he won every single game on the road this year, and he's never done that either. So not only did he not have the greatest roster around him that he has in years past, right? We can all agree that his offense was not the type of offense that it has been in the years past. I made that point last week on the episode that this was a defensive-minded team, all that stuff. But he won every single game on the road when a huge narrative coming into the playoffs was that he's never had to play on the road before, which that in itself is pretty amazing, right? But he's never had to play on the road. He did that. He beat, what you could consider a rival in the Bills. And then the number one seed, dethroned them in the Baltimore Ravens. So just getting to the Super Bowl was unbelievable. And yeah, he made some runs and some plays down the stretch where it's debilitating to a defense. It's debilitating. I can go on a tangent about Shanahan and the coin toss and all that stuff, but I will say that when it mattered most, Mahomes made the play. Purdy did not. And Purdy didn't play badly by any stretch of the imagination. He just didn't play nearly good enough to win. I can't help but think about the missed extra point by Moody.
Ooh, it changed everything.
Well, it does change everything, but at the same time, maybe not in the long run, because if Kansas City's marching down the field at the end of regulation, knowing that they absolutely have to score a touchdown, that a field goal will still leave them down by 1, it probably changes the play calling. That, you know what I mean? Maybe they take some shots. Maybe they don't get it, but if they get that touchdown, they win outright, no overtime anyways. So, you can go either way on that, but you can't help but think like 1 point, you know what I mean? It's just it kind of stinks. The narrative around Kyle Shanahan continues, Can
you explain that?
This is the 3rd time he's lost a Super Bowl with a double-digit lead in the 4th quarter or the second half. I think I'm right on that, right, boys?
Yeah, it's like 28-3, the Tom Brady game against the Falcons.
So let me clarify that then. Yes. So what was that, 2015-ish, 2016 maybe?
That, yeah.
When the Patriots beat the Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons that year. And it was like 28-3 or something like that.
28-3 at half.
Yeah, at halftime. The Patriots came back and won. And then in 2019, the 49ers played the Kansas City Chiefs once again. And I think they were up by 10 going into the 4th quarter or at halftime or something like that. And they lost that one as well. That was the infamous, was that the infamous Jimmy G interception? I think it was. He just threw that interception down the line. Side note, Mr. Jimmy G was suspended for 2 games to start next year for violating NFL's performance-enhancing drug policy. I don't know the details of it.
Was it Viagra?
And maybe. So I will say that my pick to win was wrong. Obviously, my score was wrong. I did say it was going to be a dogfight, though. It was a dogfight. In hindsight, I don't know why your buddy Dave from work is probably right. Why would I pick the score so high if I thought it was going to be a dogfight? But it definitely was. McCaffrey had a big game, but no one else, Ayuk, no one else on the 49ers really stepped up. So we'll see. On to March Madness.
Real quick. Somebody learned me about this whole receiving the ball in overtime thing. Like, I kind of get it. That was huge, apparently. And
rules
not really. Changed. Okay.
Greg, go ahead and explain it real quick.
Yeah, so the rules just changed this year, but what it
just
used
for the
to
playoffs, though.
Just for the playoffs. What it used to be is that overtime was typically if the team that received the ball first in overtime went down and scored a touchdown, the game was over. If they kicked a field goal, then the other team would have the opportunity to come back and answer that. But if they weren't able to score any points, whether it be field goal or touchdown, the game was then over at that point. Right. Now it's sudden death, but not on that first possession.
Right.
Both teams get a chance to possess the ball and score a touchdown, or they get a chance to equal the other team's whatever.
So the advantage,
and because Kansas City then went down the field and scored a touchdown, it was sudden death, so game was over at that point.
Because they possessed the ball twice. San Francisco only scored a field goal in their possession. Kansas City scored more points.
But the reason that, say, Kansas City wanted San Francisco to receive the ball first is so that by the end of their drive, they knew exactly what they had to do.
Correct. That would be
debatable, and it's all like easy to say that after the fact. You know what I mean? You don't know how that's going to unfold. And another side note: tell your buddy Dave at work, don't quit his day job. All right.
Well, he probably won't.
So we could take that to a different discussion and offline, because Bill is correct. It can go both ways. I personally said to myself, why is he taking the ball first? I personally think I would have rather, before the narrative came out of why he did it the next day, I think I would have rather have been on defense first, because you give your defense, who had been pretty dominant all game. I mean, it was only whatever the score was at that point. Give my defense a chance, and then, I don't know, all you got to do is kick a field goal if you get the ball second and you keep them from scoring. But anyways, I think it's a good rule change. It was all sparked from that Kansas City Buffalo game a few years ago. But all right, let's move on real quick. Let's see, was there anything else? Let's go into, how was the halftime show, guys?
Mid.
Upper echelon. I mean, probably I mean, it was up there, man. It was probably one of the better ones that I've seen.
I get the whole. He's a nostalgia act. I mean, it was fine. Like truly, like I didn't hate it or anything, but I don't know. It wasn't like top tier, like everybody's saying. I mean, and honestly, the best one in modern times is the one with Eminem and Snoop and Dre and all. Yes, it is 100%.
Wow.
Yes, it is best one since.
I want you to name me another one besides that one, Corey.
Red Hot Chili Pepper. I don't think the Chili Peppers came out. Somebody else was the actual. Who was it? Well, first off, Paul McCartney in like 2004. Tom Petty did it. Michael
Bruno
Jackson
Mars,
in like 93.
You didn't ever watch that.
Well, that was before I was
wasn't
born.
alive for it.
Yeah. But no,
The
so
St. Louis Marching Band in 1938.
Yeah.
my memorable ones are the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I just cannot remember who was the actual show, but they came out and it was electric. And the other one was, and it was crap. It was the Black Eyed Peas, which was awful. That show was awful until Slash
I like
came out.
Fergie.
Well, no.
Bill, do you have a list of
I do.
last however many? Just
I
run
do.
them down real quick.
All right, so I'm going to go in reverse chronological order here. We got Usher with special guests Alicia Keys, Jermaine Dupri, will.i.am, Little John, and Ludacris. Then we have Rihanna.
She was gorgeous.
Who?
Alicia Keys. She looks so good.
Man, Usher. First of all, Usher filling up on Swiss Beats' wife like that on a national stage. Wow. You got some real Corleones, buddy.
I want
right,
to say
so-
that Lil Jon was electric, though. I will say that about the show. Go on.
All right. So Rihanna the year before that. Then you got the Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg promoting gang violence, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary J. Blige. The year before that, you have The Weeknd. Then Shakira.
That was good, too.
That
No,
was
he's
weird,
terrible.
dude. It was like that
He's
maze.
terrible, dude.
That was good.
Here
No,
you
he's
go.
terrible.
Maroon
Because
5.
you're not a star
Horns
boy.
down.
Huh?
You're not a star boy, obviously.
I have no idea what that means, and it sounds
Me
retarded.
neither. Me
A
neither.
real artist, Justin Timberlake, Lady Gaga the year before that, Coldplay, Beyonce, Bruno Mars.
Oh, Bruno was good. Bruno Mars was good.
That's a bad run. Like,
It is a
There's
bad
not
one.
many good ones. There's not
Well,
many good ones.
There's Katy Perry, then there's Bruno Mars and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't
That-
remember that because
Yes.
I wasn't sober yet, but I'm sure it was good.
That's what it was. It was Bruno Mars, Red Hot Chili Peppers. They come out, give it away. It was crazy. And then you find out that they weren't even playing their instruments.
Okay.
That's
And then do you want me to keep going or are we good there?
yeah, go. a
No,
couple
that- I
more.
think
I'm going to go back to the GOAT performance here.
Hold on.
So you got Beyonce, Madonna, the Black Eyed Peas. Usher, I actually didn't know that. In 2011, then 2010, you have The Who. 2009, you have Springsteen. 2008, you have the GOAT, Tom Petty, and then you have the GOAT performance, the best Super Bowl performance of all time, and it's an easy call. It's Prince in the rain with a guitar.
Mhm.
I mean, it's no brainer. Year
Yeah,
before that,
it
Rolling Stones, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it right there.
Hold on.
Yeah,
What
I
year
like
was
that.
Paul McCartney?
I'm sorry, I won't leave it there. You're right. Paul McCartney was the year before that, and then probably the most popular one of all time, the Janet Jackson Timberlake.
Yeah.
The wardrobe malfunction year.
Correct.
Yeah. So my take on that is that Prince would be the best performance of all time. And then I actually think I rank Usher second. I love the videography. I love the transitions. I love the music. I thought the mic was a little bit of an issue, but I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
I thought, and then Greg, I'll let you comment. I thought it was very good. I have literally been singing Usher songs like all week in my head. I haven't been able to get it out.
Mhm.
I love, the guests he had. I well documented that I have a thing for Alicia Keys, but I was with some friends, my brother-in-law and his wife, and some friends. And the friends we were with had some young teenage daughters, and their friends were over the house. And the father of the teenage daughters said, like, "Wow, I'm so glad that it was somewhat tasteful and it wasn't like half naked girls or guys like running around." I thought that was big because I know sex sells. I get all that, but they were able to do a high quality very well done, very entertaining halftime show without it being just full of sex and full of stuff like that. Now, maybe most people listen to this podcast would prefer something full of sex and edgy like that, but a little risque. I'm not saying I wouldn't either. I'm just saying I thought that was a really cool comment from this guy that I know. I know him really well, and young teenage daughters, and like to make that comment, I thought that was pretty cool. So kudos to whoever in the NFL or whoever runs the Super Bowl halftime show. Any comments, Greg?
What do you got?
Yeah, I think that if you were in high school between the years of 1998 and 2006, 2007, you can pretty much agree that while there were some issues with that halftime show, it was phenomenal. Okay, it was better than a lot of what Bill just listed. I would second the Prince for sure. I mean, In the Rain, it was phenomenal. But as far as Usher is concerned, it was great. It was a great throwback. Here's a serious mention right here is the fact that he actually sang the songs. He didn't lip sync them.
Right.
He actually got that's a ballsy move to do that on that stage, in that setting, with that kind of time crunch and no room for error. And while there were a couple errors, they were minimal, and the dude put on a show.
Correct.
Jermaine Dupri, you've seen some better days, homie. It's probably time to roll it up. Alicia Keys, my God, how are you 43 years old? I don't know. Absolutely beautiful. I could literally watch you read a dictionary and be just enthralled by it. Great performance. Her voice is still so on point. And yeah, Lil Jon and Luda. I mean, come on. It was fantastic. I was dancing in my living room.
Ludacris's fro was it was epic, dude. He's the man. Like, he's just the man.
Yes.
So very good. Corey, you're still in high school, right, Corey?
You can beat that.
You can't beat that. You had a family-friendly show. You had great songs. No
I'll take
gang
the gang
banging.
violence. Yeah.
What's that?
I'll take the gang violence. I was more entertained by the gang violence.
I did
10 years.
For the record, I did think that the Eminem fit all that year. I did think that was I thought it was very good. I liked
iconic.
It. I would say though Usher was a little bit better, for sure. For sure.
I'm somewhat infuriated at the moment. We should probably move on.
It's all right. That's all right. Take a couple deep breaths. We'll move on. We will move on. So, all right, let's we're going to go to our next segment, and we are going to go to the hot take of the week. And we are going to let Mr. G.A. Phillips take this one. The reins are yours, my friend.
The purple reins.
The purple reins. I appreciate it, nice. Shawn. All right, so our hot take of the week. The Stanley Cup phenomenon. And no, folks, I'm not talking about the hockey trophy. I'm talking about these plastic and metal tumblers that have seemingly turned our favorite neighborhood Target stores, once a haven for hot soccer moms, into a full-on UFC pay-per-view. Consumerism and mass hysteria, the likes of which have only been rivaled by such retail disasters as the Popeyes chicken sandwich debacle of 2019, the PlayStation 5 Royal Rumble of 2020, or the dragon-shaped Disney popcorn bucket massacre of 2022. And for what? A hunk of metal with an ergonomic handle and a very mid-lion logo on the front? A straw that barely allows for a proper slurp. And guys, forget the brawl between hockey players on the ice or drunken football fans at a stadium. You want to see some real carnage and bloodshed? Head on down to your local Target Superstore when they're about to release the newest Stanley Club. This time, it's in a different hue of red. Watch out. These maniacs will be waiting in line overnight in front of the store, camping out, just waiting for those doors to slide open so they can bum rush some kid that's making $14 an hour to deal with your bullshit so that they can get the coveted Holy Grail special edition Stanley Cup. And the prices on these things, don't get me started. I've seen anywhere from $45 to $500 for a fucking cup. Target used to be a lovely place. You can go order a cup of liquid diabetes from a Starbucks counter, go and shop and pay about 20% more than you pay for the same shit at Walmart. So just a different label. And now our favorite neighborhood money pit has become a post-apocalyptic wasteland where you might just get clubbed over the head by an irate Karen for eyeballing the same tumbler that she was. So there you have it. It's our first hot take of the week. I'm going to turn it over to my esteemed colleagues, but I just want to say, if you participate in the Stanley Cup madness, you really are the lowest of the low, the crummiest of the crumb, and the scummiest of the scum. Thank you.
God, that was fantastic. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
The first time I even heard of it, I'm sitting on the couch watching an Eagles game with one of our mutual friends, Sarah, and I said something along the lines of, I really want to see a Flyer Stanley Cup, and she's like, yeah, I was trying to look for one of those too, and I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? A Flyer Stanley Cup? It hasn't happened since 1975, and she's like, oh, I thought you meant the tumbler or whatever, and I'm like, no, I had no idea that this was a thing, and I've since learned that it's all because one survived in a car fire, and now Stanley Cup capitalized on it and made them pink and red, like Greg just said. And now we got to go fight over them because any fad in America, we got to go fight over. I don't know. I'm out on it. Gabby got a what's called a simple modern, and it is a cup with a handle, just like that, except it doesn't leak when you turn it over or something like that. I don't know. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out too. I had no idea what this even was until you guys brought it to my attention a few days ago. I too thought it had something to do with hockey. I've had the same Yeti since 2016, no free ads, but I'm like, I don't get it either. The one girl in the video was like, oh, it just makes me want to drink more water. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I have no idea why it is this crazy, huge deal.
What about you, Bill?
Well, you guys know where I stand on the Stanley Cup.
Is that really one?
That's not a Stanley, is it?
This is a Stanley.
Now
listen.
It's a Steelers Cup.
Hold on a minute, Corey. Let me explain.
You can get them engraved, Corey.
Yeah, there's all different ones, and this one was for my wife. Don't you dare say it was not a Stanley, Corey.
Oh, sorry.
How much did she spend on it?
It was a Christmas gift, Shawn. I would never ask the price. The sentimental value is off the chart, though. So, yes, I thought this was ridiculous when I saw my wife carrying around a cup about half her size, and I thought it was ridiculous that there was a straw in it, and I thought it was completely absurd until I started using it. Now I see the luxury feature, how seamlessly the straw works to get you hydrated. I mean, it's fantastic. I can't be any higher on a Stanley Cup. You know why? Because I'm from Pittsburgh and we win Stanley Cups and we certainly drink out of them as well. Cheers.
Listen, I have a Disney cup I'll cheers you with. That's it. That's
That
the best I got.
cup. It just looks pathetic compared to the Stanley Cup.
It's much smaller. I have little hands, though. The Stanley Cup in my hands is not a good look.
That's true.
That's well
That's a
documented.
good point.
That's
Actually,
well
can you
documented.
show those for our audience that may not be aware?
I wanted to
Yeah, let's get a
Avoid
hand
this.
check. Let's get a hand check.
hands up.
Look at those.
Greg, put
dainty
yours up
little
to the
nuggets.
thing and maybe we can. No. Oh, shit.
Doesn't even fit.
That bear claw out of my face. Also, Greg, what the hell were you just sipping on?
Oh, a Stanley Cup. Water. But yeah,
You're the crummiest of the crumb.
I am indeed.
You're the worst. Oh,
Thank you. That's the
how many
nicest thing you've
soccer
ever
moms
said to
did
me.
you kick in the face for that?
As many as necessary. Actually, that was a wonderful Christmas gift.
From a soccer
I
mom.
don't use it nearly as much as I should, but it was a nice gift.
I will say, at least when you get it as a gift, you know that there was bloodshed over that. So that's nice.
Who gave
Absolutely.
it to you?
My girlfriend for Christmas.
Indeed.
Shout out,
It
Greg.
was a very, very, very nice gift.
I will say that
Yeah.
I walk around with a big ass water bottle. It's 64 ounces, so I'm not much better. But it's like plastic. It's a piece of crap. I mean, it costs like $5.
You're evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have my Yeti. I have my water bottle. They're not big. I don't, whatever. You want to buy it, fine. I don't understand the hype. And I think it's stuff like that why other countries hate us. But
True.
that's a different
point.
topic. So
Maybe our viewers will let us know what they think about the Stanley Cup, and not not Lord Stanley's Cup, but the Stanley Cup. Apparently,
Well,
No,
they
I'm
probably
all for it.
manufacture the Stanley Cup for like 5 cents an hour, and then they see us like in Target wrestling each other for them.
You know what? That's a good point. I want any listeners out there, I want to find out, let us know where they're manufactured. Is it an American-based company? Are they manufactured here?
China.
I'd like to know. I would like
sure.
to know. All right, let's keep it moving, boys.
I actually am the resident fact checker here. We see they are manufactured in
Go ahead.
Brazil and China.
Brazil and China.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
5 cents an hour, for sure, confirmed.
Easily. All right, next topic. Trending topic section. This one, I don't know. I got deep into some articles on this one, and I kind of found it fascinating. I don't think I'd ever want one, but I found it kind of fascinating, just everything that's gone into it. Bill, I will let you go ahead and start us off with this one, but this is about the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, with the sub topic here, Apple Vision Pro or the Neuralink. But what I'm going to call the title of this is 2024, the year of the nerd, because apparently all of a sudden now we've had a real change in the psyche of people, because now the hottest people on the block are walking around looking like a half a robot, and they're walking through public, and you see these Vision Pro headsets on, and I guess my question to you guys is, would you ever wear one of these things? And what do you think? I mean, I personally think that I would wear one. I don't know about in public, but in my house, I think it'd be pretty cool to have, 2 screens up in front of me at the same time, etc. I don't know if I'm ready to walk into Starbucks and place my order with my eyeballs or anything like that. Also with the Neuralink, you have the first patient getting a Neuralink inserted or implanted, I guess, into their brain. And I think that's also another step in that same direction. So you're the nerd. The floor is yours, boys.
Go ahead.
Right.
Anybody can take that.
Well, I don't even know if I have many thoughts on it, except it's just too much. This is just too much, man. We're getting way too ahead of ourselves. And like, let me say this too. Like, I feel okay. This is probably a thing that I will hate on and hate on and hate on. But like, if my best friend got one, I'd be like kind of jealous about it a little bit, because it does look cool. Like I watched some videos and stuff, and like it looks kind of, I'm not saying you look cool wearing it. I'm saying like inside of the thing looks kind of cool. But like, it's so unnecessary. And for people to walk around like that, like, you're an idiot. This might be a hot take, kind of. You're an idiot. You just look stupid. Well, I saw a video of a guy walking across the street. What are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that. I don't know. It's if I went over to Bill's house for, a barbecue and we were hanging out and he had one and he was like, "Hey, you got to play the golf game on here," I would say, "Okay, cool. Let me check it out for sure." And I'd probably think it was really cool, but I'm out on it in public. I think we don't have enough human interaction as it is. I know that might sound like super hippie, sappy, whatever you want to say, but I just think like you just see it on the most basic level. At the the gym's not a good example, but like at Publix, at random places where it has been typical over the years to just have one-on-one quick human conversation. People have their earbuds in like everywhere they go now. I think this is just another step in removing any type of interpersonal skills that we have. I think there's again, not to get too far down this rabbit hole, a direct correlation to all this AR stuff and all this virtual reality stuff, and why like our 15-year-olds like can't look people in the eyes and have a 3-minute conversation, and why they're just, I mean, no social skills whatsoever, why they can't read very well. Like there's a lot of stuff. And again, I'm not trying to go down too far down that hole, but I'm out on it. I think it's dangerous. And I do think the video was funny, that the YouTube video that you guys sent in the group thread, thought that was pretty funny. I know that was meant to make fun of it. I was reading this guy's article that I sent you guys, who I guess has been studying this kind of stuff for years, and they did like a real thorough breakdown of it and all that stuff. The technology does seem absolutely, we have this technology. Let's use it for some like good stuff in the world. And I know there are people out there in our companies trying to do good for, but this is some, sounds like earth-shattering, amazing technology. And we're doing it so some dude can, you know, gamble and play Candy Crush and watch porn at the same time while he's driving to work.
Amen.
So, or girl. I don't want to be sexist. Girls can watch porn too and play Candy Crush and gamble. So,
True.
I for one don't mind diving deep into holes. So I'll just pick that right up. I agree
so
a lot with what you said, Shawn. And yeah, I just think it's ruining interpersonal communication in society as a whole. But let's talk for a second. Like, you want me to pay $3,500 for these
Right.
goggles? $3,500. That thing better cook me dinner and tell me I'm handsome every single day of the week. Okay,
I better do way more than that.
No way that you could pay me to look like that in public and have me shell out that kind of dough. There's just no way. But even furthermore, it's kind of like you said, we have enough screens. I'm talking to you guys on a screen. I'm typing on a screen for most of the day while I'm at work. I'm looking at my handheld screen, and then I go home and I got my tablet screen and all that. We got too much of it already, you know, and we do wonder why the younger generations of this country and of the world really, you know, just like you were saying, along with those things, can't look people in the eye, can't talk to people, are stunted. You know, I see it, unfortunately, with the young kids, you know, like my nieces and nephews and stuff like that, where they are just this thing. They need it as soon as they wake up in the morning. They need their tablet with their game and everything, and it's a little bit overboard. But I think the even further implication about all this that none of you guys brought up, and I'll you know, give you a freebie on this one, but has anybody seen Terminator? I mean, this is how this happens, guys. This is how it happens. And I, for one, do not want to get boned by a titanium robot with an Arnold Schwarzenegger skin suit. It's not in my agenda of things to do. So I'm out on them. No thanks. Even if they cost $10, I'm good.
You can buy it on your Apple Card, Greg. It's 24 easy payments of $3.99.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah, for $3,500, you could sponsor 6 months of this podcast. Any listeners out there?
Or
conclusion is we'll all be wearing them in 4 years.
I was just going to say, any final thoughts on this? I mean, I don't know.
No, it's ridiculous.
All right.
Stop with the stuff. Stop with the stuff. You know, we're getting too ahead of ourselves.
We'll check back on this. We'll keep tabs on these hot takes and these trending topics.
I might show up next week with one on.
It would make for good content.
Please do.
So, all right, boys, we are kind of starting to near the end of the episode. And one of the things that we talked about last week in our first episode was kind of a better living, tips for better living, spirituality, healthy living kind of segment. And we are going to get into that tonight. It may not be as in-depth and as in detail as we will have in the coming episodes and weeks and months. We got a lot of good ideas, and we kind of want to holster some of them and just save them. But one of the things we want to do is we teased last week the name Trudge Report. We are Trudge Report. We want to kind of just explain real quick what that's about, how we came up with the name. So on an unspiritual side of it, or not unspiritual, but just on a secular side of it, if anybody out there remembers the news show, the Drudge Report with the D as in dog, it's kind of a play off of that, but that's only part of it. The word trudge. So as we've all mentioned, we're all in recovery. We're all passionate about our recovery. We are all very involved in our local recovery communities. We know most of our friends and family are in recovery. It's become second nature for us. It's become a way of life. And there is one of our books that we like, one of our pieces of literature that we all covet pretty well. There's a line in there that says, "Trudge the road of happy destiny." Trudge means, walk firmly with purpose. There's a few other varying definitions. As a matter of fact, Bill, when you want to pull up in a minute, let me know. You can pull up the exact definition and let the audience know. But virtually, it's, to walk firmly with purpose. In the spiritual journey of recovery, trudging is something that has to be done. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a painful thing. But progress, peace of mind, a lot of that stuff, it doesn't just come overnight for guys like us that have been through the ringer and been through the depths of hell. It takes a little while sometimes to come out the other side. So that word trudge, it's really, and it kind of goes along with the journey of recovery, right? It's a journey that no one can take for us, that no one can spare us of, that we have to take on our own. If there was a pill that would make me sober and happy, I probably wouldn't give it to you, because what's been so phenomenal and memorable, and the way I've built these relationships and these experiences, is the journey of the trudge. You got it, Bill?
Yeah, I do. So trudge, walk slowly and with heavy steps, typically because of exhaustion or harsh conditions, a difficult or laborious walk.
Now, that being said, not everything, and I know my three compadres here can attest to it, not everything in our journeys of recovery have been arduous and stressful, but like, we all know that each one of us has been through some stuff, and that's why we lean on our brothers, we lean on our sisters, we lean on our support group. And, each side, every time we come out on the other side of one of these things, it makes us stronger, gives us that experience. And more importantly, or most importantly, we can take that experience and help the next guy or gal with it that's maybe going through the same thing or a similar thing. And we can say, hey, I've been there. I've been through this. I've trudged through this. No pun intended. You can come out on the other side. So that's kind of where the name came from, Trudge Report. It's just something that we were throwing a bunch of ideas around. We come looking back on it, we had some really stupid ideas for the name of this podcast. And I'm really kind of happy that we settled on what we did. And I want to let you guys kind of comment on that a little bit, whatever that means to you, a little bit of your trudge experience, and we'll kind of go from there and wrap it at that. So who wants to go first with that? You want to go first, Corey?
Yeah. I think all I really had to say on it is, when I got sober, when I started this journey of sobriety, a friend explained to me, that, like you said, like that definition of trudge, whereas like, as just a normal person who had never been explained that before, I always thought it was like what Bill said, or like, trudge meant like a struggle, and like, not that there hasn't, like you said, Shawn, like, not that there hasn't been struggles in the past 8 years and stuff, because there have, but like overall, sobriety itself has not been, I cannot define it as a struggle. Like, to stay sober has not been a struggle. Maybe, and I had a couple cracks at sobriety too. So like, I'm not saying I've never dealt with what people think early sobriety should be or whatever. Man, I remember I was in rehab once, and I was talking to a counselor, and I was like, man, and granted, I'm like a hot 30 days sober, and I'm telling him, I'm like, man, like, I always hear people say like the first 3 years of recovery are so difficult, and like, it's really like, 3 to 5 things start getting better. And I don't even know who I was listening to at the time, to be honest. But like, he was like, well, maybe just don't be like that. Why do you think it has to be like that? And that didn't occur to me until he said that, and I didn't even stay sober that time. But it's true. So when we talk about trudge, like you said, Shawn, it was explained to me that it means to walk with purpose or walk firmly with purpose, like you're saying. And furthermore, like that's something that staying sober and living life in recovery and like finding God has given me as a purpose. So, like I said, like overall sobriety itself has not been a struggle by any means. And if that's not somebody's experience, I would highly recommend inquiring even to us. You could even email us at Trudge Report at yahoo.com. I gotta plug this, Shawn.
It'll be in the mentions, but yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing too, before Greg and Bill, before you guys go, anyone out there listening that has questions about recovery or sobriety or our experiences or how to get into it or whatever the case may be, please message us, email us, and we'll tag everything again at the end of this episode. But we'd be more than happy to talk with you about it. Some of those topics might be appropriate for the podcast, some might not, but we'd be happy to talk with you about it offline, over the phone, via email, messenger, whatever the case may be. So, let's see. Greg, trudge me, baby.
Yeah, I mean, like most people, I had the connotation of the word trudge coming into recovery and everything is what Bill kind of laid out, and what you actually first taught me was this alternate meaning, and that's been my story, man. That's been my experience, is that once I really put the foot to the pavement and started doing the deal, I didn't have to struggle anymore. And again, like you guys have talked about, it has not always been easy per se, but life isn't, right. But what recovery has taught me and a lot of my brothers and sisters around me is that we can deal with the things life throws at us, and come out the other side as stronger, better people. So that's what trudge means to me. I try to live it in my daily life, not only in the rooms of recovery, but also just in my daily life, whether it be with my peers and colleagues at work, whether it be with my family members, to walk with purpose, to live a life worth living, especially coming from having lived a life that was just for lack of a better term, a living hell for a great many years. So, and definitely along with what Shawn said, man, we like to joke around a lot. I love to joke around and have a good time on this whole thing. But if you've got questions or if you're struggling with something in your own sobriety or anything like that, drop us a follow. We're all over social media. Like, send us an email, whatever. I can speak for myself. I'll talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Agreed. Absolutely. DeLucchi, take us out, buddy.
Yeah. I love what all you guys had to say. Trudge. I mean, the beauty in it to me is, trudging and walking laboriously and struggles and all those things are indicative of life. I mean, you don't need to be in recovery or afflicted per se with that ailment specifically to understand that. So, part of understanding life is to learn to, instead of saying the rain's coming, learn to dance in the rain. Or, that's, to me, that's a marker of what that was all about. I turned my life around when I learned to embrace and understand that inside of the struggle, that's where the purpose was. That's where the growth was. To quote my friend DMX, see, to live is to suffer, but to survive, well, that's to find meaning in the suffering. And I listened to that song the other day, and that honestly hits deep, man. Like that to me is deep. you know, you don't need to be afflicted with addiction to understand. I think pain is perception. I've yet to run into somebody in their 30s or whatever that hasn't had a lot of pain. I mean, it's kind of a part of life, but we're all here for each other. And I know these three other gentlemen and myself has been touched upon. And whether it's something related to recovery or just stress in general, these three gentlemen and myself are more than willing to be helpful to anybody. In fact, it's kind of what we do. So, you know, with that, I mean, I think, you know, Shawn touched on it as well, is like, if you could just give peace to everybody, like I wouldn't, because I would rob them of the journey to peace, because you don't get there without the struggle. So embracing that Trudge Report, we're here to tell you about what we've struggled with and what we've succeeded with and the peace we have found in our hearts. And that's my take on it.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. And we're going to wrap it up here in a minute, but some of those stories that we've had, those excursions, may come out in later podcasts when we get a little more comfortable and just kind of we see how this flow goes. But we will talk to anyone offline. Like we said, this is something like every single one of us, our experience trudging, the hard times, the good times, the bad times, whatever, has brought us here on this podcast, right? Everything that's kind of happened has brought us here. So butterfly effect kind of thing. It's all comes full circle. Thank you guys for everything tonight. This will wrap up our second episode. It's pretty cool. We still got a lot of kinks to work out, myself included, but it's absolutely fun. I love talking with you guys. Want to give another final shout out to Miss Janine Stella Mix Productions, our wonderful producer, editor, and just queen of all things. She's been phenomenal to work with. Again, please follow us on all social media platforms, Twitter, whatever they're calling it now, X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's at Trudge Report Pod. At Trudge Report Pod. Corey threw out the email earlier, trudgereport@yahoo.com. Please drop us a line if you have any questions, any topic ideas, anything you want us to talk about on the next podcast. We'd be more than happy to. Mailbag requests, whatever the case may be. Please like, follow, and share on all social media platforms. We cannot do this without you. With that, we are Trudge Report, and we will see you next week.